time as a boy. His name was Epaminondas. His mommy loved him very much. And his grandmother loved him even more. His grandmother lived not too far away, walking distance for Jack, but far enough away that was away from mommy. Sometimes mommy needed a little relief. So Epaminondas was messing around one day, and his mother said, Epaminondas, I think it's time for you to go see grandmother. And so went over to grandmother's house and got there, and Granny's happy to see him. She said, Epaminondas, you know what I just took out of the oven? Some rich pound cake. Would you like a piece? Yes, Granny. And Epaminondas enjoyed that cake so much. When he got ready to go home, he looked at her in a way, and she said, yeah, I thought so. You can take some home with you. Take a nice big piece when you get home, you and your mommy can share it. Can you do that? Yes, Granny. So he put out his hand, she put it in there, and Jack started home. Now you know he's a boy, and so he has to check out that grasshopper that moved in front of him. But he didn't want to drop it, so he kind of held on to it. He got down to the stream, and he saw a crawdad, and he got to try to catch that a little bit tighter. And so he just kept doing it all the way home. So when he got home, that rich pound cake, Epaminondas, what's that in your hand? Cake, Mommy? Simply it's kind of a sticky goo that squeezed through his fingers, and it didn't look too appetizing. She said, Epaminondas, that's not the way to carry pound cake. When you carry that, when your granny gives you that, you take off your cap, you put it up on your head, and you put your cap back on, keep it safe, and come along home. Can you do that? Yes, Mommy. So a few more days, he goes see Granny again. When he gets there, she's out on the porch, and she's churning butter, almost finished. She's finished churning that butter, and she takes it out, takes some, puts it on a nice piece of bread for Epaminondas. He eats it. Oh, that was so good. So when it's time to go home, she said, I bet you'd like to take some of that butter home with you. Yes. You know how to do that? Yes. And so he gets out, and sure enough, he takes off his cap, puts that butter up there, puts his cap back on. Nice hot day. And then he's walking and looking at the crawdad, chasing the butterfly, and it starts dripping down his neck, you know, coming down over his ears. And, you know, it's just, when he gets home, he's just listening. And his mommy looks at him and says, Epaminondas, what have you got? She says, but there's nothing up there. It's just all greasy. And all the rest of his body. He says, Epaminondas, I don't think you have the sense you were born with. When you get that butter, you go down to that brook and you take a nice big leaf and you put that butter in there and you cool it in the water. Cool it in the water. Cool it in the water. And then come along home. You ready for this, Renee? You got yourself all braced. Yeah. And so he said, yes, in a few days, you know, he goes to see Granny again. And when he gets there, she says, Epaminondas, I want you to go look in that shed over there. And he goes around and looks in the shed, and that old mama dog has had puppies. And it gets to be time for you to go home, and she says, would you like to take one of those puppies? Yes, Granny. Can you do that? Yes. So he takes that puppy and gets down to the brook, and he cools it in the water. Cools it in the water. Cools it in the water. Takes it along home. When he's home, his mommy says, Epaminondas, what do you have? And he said, puppy, Mommy. She said, Epaminondas, that's not how you carry a puppy. When you get the puppy, you take that string out of your pocket, you tie it around the neck, and you lead it along behind you. Do you understand? Yes, Mommy. Well, a few days later, he goes to see Granny again. And when it gets time to go, she says, Epaminondas, I remember how you like that bread and butter so much. I just made a whole loaf of bread, and I want you to take it home. Can you do that? Yes, Granny. And so he leaves. He takes that string out of his pocket and ties it around the bread, drags it along behind him. When he gets home, it's just tattered and messy and not much worth looking at. his mommy says, "What have you got, Epaminondas?" He says, "Bread, Mommy?" He says, "Epaminondas, you don't have the sense you were born with for sure and for certain. I'm going to go see Granny myself. Now, I just finished making these 6 pies, and they're sitting here on the steps to cool. And I want you to be careful how you go stepping in those pies. Can you do that?" "Yes." And she takes off, gets around the corner, and Epaminondas very carefully steps right in the middle of those 6 pies. That's the end. So go draw your hit, I call it.